I'd just first like to welcome everybody to Charlottesville. I'd like to congratulate Coach and his team for the Super Regional. We'd like to welcome the Mississippi State fans and administration and all the media to Charlottesville. I think you'll find that our people here in Charlottesville and the university will be very hospitable. I think our fans will show good sportsmanship, and it'll be a great weekend of baseball here. Our team is looking forward to this. We played pretty good baseball last weekend. Have been playing pretty solid baseball all year long. I know that we have a tremendous opponent this weekend in Mississippi State. They look like they have one heck of a team, really great pitching and defense, and a really good offensive ball club. And I know how well they're coached. Coach Cohen's one of the great ones out there in college baseball, and it's just going to be a great weekend. Everybody knows what's at stake. You win here, you advance on. Everybody's great this time of the year, and we're just happy that we can be playing in a Super Regional and happy to have the opportunity.
Coach Coleman.
Yeah, I just want to echo. It's an honor to be here. We're excited about it. Tremendous facility. Playing an incredible ball club. I think that our kids are hopefully going to get beyond this this draft thing. Is there a draft thing going on right now?
Yeah, I guess there is.
So hopefully that'll be in the rearview mirror for us. But we feel like we've had great preparation this week. And again, I think there's an excitement. We all do know what's on the line here. And when you get to this level, you get to the last 16, there's a lot of similarities among all the clubs. All the clubs are very, very well coached. And, obviously being on the road, you have to get used to your surroundings in a hurry. And I've been told that Coach was put in charge of the weather this weekend, so that's a huge relief to me because last weekend in Starkville, I did not do a great job with that. So, again, our kids are excited. They're wanting to play right now, and hopefully we'll have a good weekend.
We'll open up to questions. Just raise your hand first and then give your affiliation.
Brian, what are you going to go with pitching class?
Brandon Waddell has been our Friday starter all year long, and he will start game one tomorrow.
Brad Lott, Daily Journal. John, I know Kendall said it's confirmed he's going to start tomorrow. Do you have any thoughts on beyond him who might start the other game?
Yeah, I don't have any thoughts beyond him. The neat thing about game one is you get the opportunity to watch your opponent play. So that'll give us an opportunity to evaluate a little bit. Certainly, Kendall's a senior. He's one of our guys. He pitched last Friday night for us, and we feel like with his leadership, it gives us the best opportunity to get off to a good start.
How much does the fact that this is a go home test with three change just your general approach on a weekend rotation?
For us, it's different than most of the teams we play. It really, our biggest issue is who we used in relief versus who we're starting. I think the numbers bear that out. So it's a little bit bigger consideration for us. But again, getting the opportunity to see a really, really good Virginia club play against us, we're going to get the chance to evaluate that lineup and see who might match up in game two the best as a starter.
Brian, speaking to that, obviously your lineup has done really well against bullpens this year. Will this be the biggest challenge, with their side and their bullpen, and with a really good closer there too?
Well, there's no question. I feel like we faced a couple of clubs this year that had really good bullpens. North Carolina being one of them. NC State's got a pretty good pen, and so does Florida State. But you look at the numbers and of Mississippi State and their bullpen. They're pretty remarkable, and it's just not one guy. They're using 6 or 8 that are really good, have been really consistent for them all year long. In all the games that I've watched on television over the last 4 or 5 days, they look like they can match up as good as anybody, certainly that we've played this year. And so, they're not only can match up well, they've got talent. They've got guys that, with good arms, but guys that can also do some things situationally. So it's impressive. I know that's a big part of what has gotten to them to this part from a pitching standpoint. And it's a big part of where we've been this year. We've had 21 come from behind victories. This year that looks like on paper that would be a little bit more challenging to do this weekend. But we're also pretty proud of what our bullpen's done, and we've been pretty good at the end of games too. So from that standpoint, I think there's a lot of similarities between the two clubs.
John, just kind of along that same point, a team that's known for scoring late in the game, and obviously I guess it looks like that plays into your strength, but how much concern is that?
Yeah, when you look at Virginia's offensive numbers, they have old numbers, meaning like changing of the bat numbers. They really swung the bat well, and they've done it well situationally. When you watch them play on TV and look at the numbers, it's not just that they score runs; it's that they don't strike out, and they do a great job getting on base, and they make the pitcher work. Every at bat's a great at bat, and it's a real challenge for any pitching staff when every single AB is going to be difficult. They just don't give at bats away, and sometimes pitchers can get on a roll, early in the count, getting early outs and getting soft contact. And I think that's one of the many things that Virginia just does a great job with. They're off at just 1 through 9. They have outstanding at bats, and there's no accident. That's why they have great numbers, and that's why they won 50 ball games.
Murray Dobbs, right, in that sense, even though their numbers don't compare, their style of taking a lot of pitches, just getting on base, is that was Central Arkansas a good preparation for that, a team that makes you pitch?
Well, Central Arkansas is a great club, certainly, but I think this is getting a little exponential here. I think I think you're definitely moving up. I mean, you're talking about Central Arkansas is a very, very good club, but I think it's a club they're hitting 265, 264-ish, which is more in line with the new bat era. And again, Virginia has incredible numbers from the old, even considering we're in this new era of bats. So I think that. I think everything is heightened when you look at their lineup and their depth and the way they approach at bats.
Brandon, update on Cogswell?
Yeah, Brandon Cogswell will be available this weekend. I don't know yet in what capacity he will, but he did swing the bat the last couple of days. He did take ground balls. He is throwing. So I'm just not quite sure in what capacity he will play in this weekend.
Does that affect how you might use Nick Howard?
Could. I think we'll know a lot more about Brandon's situation really over the next couple of days. When you're coming back from a fractured finger on your throwing hand and it's your middle finger, it's the last finger that the ball comes off. Can be a little touch and go, and I think every day that passes and the more reps that he gets, the more consistent he'll be. And so that could play into what Nick Howard might be able to do for us on the mound.
Brian, that's the question discussed. When you look at John's club, do you see a lot of similarities in what you try to do when you built your program at Virginia? Does it seem like two similar clubs playing 3-game series?
I think so. Yeah, I think you watch what they do offensively. They're a very opportunistic offensive team. Obviously, they have one extremely talented player in their lineup that is as good of a hitter as you'll face out there. But they look like an offensive club that does not just stand around and swing the entire time. They're going to put some runners in motion. They're going to bunt when they need to do those things, and we're very, very similar to that. And they've got really good pitching, and we've prided ourselves here at Virginia to have top flight pitching. So it should be great baseball. It really should, and we'll see what it comes down to. A lot of times when you're talking about teams of this caliber that do things so well, a lot of times it's just that one clutch play or that one big 2-out hit that might make the difference. But we'll see how it plays out.
Mike Clark from the Player Ledger. Brian, what do you
I mean, number one, I really believe there's a lot of talent in that lineup. I think when you look at the likes of Mike Pappy and Derek Fisher and Brandon Downs and Joe McCarthy, you're talking about 4 players that are really physical. They're very athletic. They can all run. They can all hit the ball at the ballpark, but they can also do some good situational things. And I think that a lot of our guys have a pretty advanced approach at the plate. That they're pretty selective at what they're doing and know what they're trying to accomplish. And I think it's just a whole collection of them, really. I like our club because we can, from an offensive standpoint, because I believe that we can score runs from anywhere in our lineup. I don't think there's given outs in our lineup. And like last weekend, almost all of our run production was at the bottom of our lineup. Certainly this weekend, we're going to need to get some production throughout the entire lineup to have a chance to win this series.
John, you mentioned 2 out there. Most of y'all's runs last weekend came with 2 outs. And just, what does that tell you about how consistently y'all are getting good swings on the ball?
Yeah, I like the progress of our offense. I think if you look at teams that win tournaments, regional, super regional, you're going to find a lot of 2-out hits. It just seems to be a difference maker. But especially, again, I know I'm being repetitive in this new era of smaller offense, but man, what I'd love to be getting those hits was 0 out and 1 out, but we'll take them with 2 for sure. But I think the nature of our offense is a little bit more situational, certainly than Virginia's. I think there's more power there. There's more home runs. I think they've just scored a ton of runs this year. So we've been more of a defensive, pitching with some situational stuff offensively for sure. So, our pitching staff knows this is one of the best, if not the best, offensive clubs that we face this year.
Brian, do you feel like this is kind of a regional matchup? And John was talking about how impressed he was about you being able to do this with basically guys out of your recruiting territory. And John does it the same way. Do you feel like this is kind of a mid-Atlantic, southeast type of thing? We do it just as well as you do it down there?
Interesting. Never really thought of it, but I think that's. I think you're right. We've taken a lot of pride in having, 60% of our players from this state and the surrounding states, and certainly when you look at the Bulldogs roster, it's very, very similar to that. We were talking about 2 clubs that aren't, recruiting across this country that have built their foundation of their programs from their own state and right in their backyard. So I think that's spot on.
What do you see, just being outside of Hunter getting drafted and of course Frazier today, just feel like, the weight just off their shoulders and everything?
You'd like to think so. I've kind of joked about what it would be like to be in a football coaches meeting saying, hey guys, we're going to do something different this year. We're going to put the draft for the NFL in December before your bowl games, just to see how they, how they'd approach that. But, it's the way it is. It's the way it's been. I remember, playing, just like Brian, I remember playing and, when the draft is going on, you can't help but get excited about it. It's been your goal since you were a small child to play professional baseball. And when that's upon you, it gets your heart pumping a little bit. I remember buddy next to me when I was playing kind of jabbed me in the side and said, hey, you just been drafted by the Minnesota Twins. And I thought he was joking, and we were playing at the time. I mean, we're playing in a game in Omaha at the time. So it could be a little distracting. I was distracted at that moment. Ben McDonald was just telling me upstairs that he did a press conference after being the number 1 pick in the draft the day before he started in Omaha. I could think that'd be a little bit of a distraction, but I know Brian's kids, our kids. You hope that we know that they're mature enough to be able to deal with these situations. In baseball, you almost have to be. mature enough to deal with those kind of situations, because there's a lot of possible distractions out there for them.
Brent, you feel the same way? I mean, Kyle didn't even feel affected by lead in this week, and now that his name gets called, probably not much change with him anyway.
No, I don't think so. You know, specifically with Kyle Crockett, he's been a team guy this whole time he's been here. These players have done what they can from that standpoint, and the clubs take them where they deserve to go, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. We actually told Kyle after practice, because he was drafted during practice today, and both of our clubs, our guys have worked so hard to get to this point. We're in the final 16, and certainly we're excited for those players. I'm excited for Kyle and anybody else, but they know what they have in front of them, and they know the memories that they can have from this weekend of baseball and a chance to advance on.
Got time for one more question.
John, a lot of them made about his left-handed centric lineup, and I know you went matchup for matchup all weekend last week. Do you want your guy that's on the mound right then to worry about which box he's in? Is it 2 different game plans? Is it 9 different game plans for a lineup? Or is it just one?
Well, issue number one is always just commanding the pitch, no matter who's in the batter's box. But I mean, not only is Virginia having outstanding left-handed hitting, they have outstanding right-handed hitting, and they have outstanding left-handed pitching. And that's a combination you don't see a whole lot in college baseball. And that's again, there's no accident. Winning 50 games at this stage of the year is that's a pretty amazing feat. But yeah, I mean, certainly we put together scouting reports. I know Brian and his crews put together scouting reports, and there will be a strategy, but the strategy falls apart if you don't command the pitch on the mound. So hopefully our guys will be able to execute those pitches.